called Alice Apple. Alice Apple was always full of fun and merriment. She could swing through the apple trees as nimbly as a monkey, and her tinkling, infectious laughter could be heard all over the garden. "There goes Alice," the garden gang would say, as they went about their work, and they would laugh too. Alice's laughter attracted many visitors to the garden, especially birds. Her joyous sound made them want to sing, and this they did. The friendly, intelligent robin, the familiar blackbird and thrush, the chattering swallow and chaffinch, all contributed to the rich, sweet song. One day, it had been particularly warm, and Alice Apple had been singing particularly loud and long. Miss Penelope Strawberry had joined in the song. She loved the summer, and although most of the garden gang felt hot and sticky with the heat, Penelope remained as cool and fresh as a daisy. The garden gang had been working very hard. The butterflies had been particularly busy, and all in all they were feeling rather tired and longing for the day to come to a close. Evening came at last, and with it a cool, gentle breeze, which wafted the heavenly scent of apple blossom down from Alice's tree in the sleepy garden. Colin Cucumber was so tired that he had climbed early into his hammock, and other small creatures soon tumbled drowsily into their little beds. The birds became silent. All was still. Suddenly, there was a faint humming in the distance. Soon the humming became a tremendously loud droning, and poor Alice found herself surrounded by noisy, swarming bees. Soon they settled on the end of the branch and went to sleep. But Alice could not sleep. She sat wide-eyed all through the night, not daring to move. It was much later next day, when everyone in the garden suddenly sensed that something was wrong. What could it be? Everything looked the same. But where was the laughter? Where was the song? Where was Alice? Everything was so quiet. As they all hurried over to the apple tree, there was much confusion. Tin Tomato scratched his nose on a bramble thorn. Someone stamped on Colin Cucumber's toe, and Peter Potato fell over a fat toad who was catching flies in the undergrowth. They arrived at the tree and all peered up through the pink blossoms. Alice Apple was perched on the end of a long bough, terrified, hardly daring to breathe, let alone laugh and sing. There above her hung a swarm of bees which were busily moving over each other and humming softly. The garden gang were horrified. What could they do to help her? Before anyone could decide what to do, the queen bee flew over to Alice and looked crossly into her eyes. "Alice Apple," she said, "why don't you laugh? Why don't you sing? We have a great deal of honey to make this year. Your merry sounds help us to work. Please laugh. Please sing." Alice's frightened eyes gradually began to smile, and then she broke into peals of joyous sound. The birds began to sing, the garden gang went about their tasks, and the bees busily collected honey. Everyone was happy as the beautiful garden once again rang with Alice's merry laughter.